Hello, Sharon.
How you doing?
I'm great. Yourself?
Good, dear. Um, as you know, I do a lot of work with an aging population,
Okay.
and so I'm dealing with people that have now raised their families at the end of their career, and they're looking at a whole different lifestyle. So they may be looking at downsizing. They may be looking at their finances and how to work those things. And um, so and again, I know that like in the past when I'm working with clients like that, I've pulled you in on it so that we could make sure we could do some solid financial planning for them,
Sure.
because at that time they're needing that more than they're needing a mortgage. However, in part of that financial planning, sometimes it's coming up where people are wanting to, we're looking at mortgages differently. So you've got someone in the home, and that for the downsizer, that home is paid off,
Okay.
and they want to stay there. But again, there's financial issues, and they get all of this equity tied up in the home. So I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you. But I'm going to start with, and I want to tie it into, because we talked about mortgage scams a few weeks back and
Okay.
things to watch for.
Sure.
But that is also true for the reverse mortgage, that there are scams going on as well. But first of all, for those who may not even know, can you talk to us about a reverse mortgage and what it is and who would need it and why, when, how?
Well, a reverse mortgage is basically a mortgage where you don't make any payments. So the interest that you would normally be paying simply accrues to the debt. So you're not making principal and interest payments like you would with a normal mortgage. And the debt will continue to build until you decide to sell the house, usually.
Mhm.
So you can make payments on it if you want. That is an option, which will, of course, slow the accrual of the interest. But yeah, I mean, it can be a good option if you need to increase your cash flow because you're sitting on a whole bunch of equity. Taking a regular mortgage probably isn't an option in many cases because, well, first of all, I should mention you have to be 55 plus.
Yes.
And 55, you're not going to get a lot of money from a reverse mortgage. The older you are, the more money they are going to be willing to advance you. There are some great guarantees on a reverse mortgage. Like you never have to worry about paying anything to the lender other than the mortgage debt. But like, let's say, I can't imagine this happening, but let's say the housing market just absolutely crashes and the value goes to like 50% of what it was originally. You're not going to have to make up the difference between what you owe and what you sell the house for if you sell it at that point. You can stay in the house for as long as you want, as long as you're able to. They can't evict you as long as you keep up your obligations. There are some obligations. You must maintain fire insurance on the property. You have to pay your property taxes, and you have to, what's the other one? Any maintenance fees. So you
Right.
have to keep those things up to date. Yeah, other than that, like you have no mortgage payments to make. You don't need to take all the money at once. So like if you take, you can take regular payments from the reverse mortgage. So
Okay.
that way you don't have a huge chunk of debt accumulating interest right away. You just
Right.
get the cash flow that you need. So yes, it can be a very flexible option. It does tend to be slightly more expensive than your regular interest rates because it is, kind of a specialized product. But you don't have to have most of the things you would need to qualify for a regular mortgage. You don't need those things usually. Like, as I said, you only have to be able to show that you'd be able to continue to cover the fire insurance, maintenance fees, and property taxes.
Okay. So, but I mean, the beauty of the reverse mortgage is that now, rather than having this, usually is for cash flow, right? So
Yes.
if they need more cash, they don't want to have to sell the house. It's a beautiful way to be able to get equity out of the home and still live in the home. So you don't have to sell your home simply because you don't have enough money to carry. This could be an excellent option. Now, I remember back, if you go back 20 years ago, people were always scared of reverse mortgages because there was some, it didn't seem to be as regulated. It seemed to be kind of a shady practice. Now, reverse mortgage is very legitimate today, isn't it? It's very regulated.
Yes, in fact, all the lenders that I deal with require that you get independent legal advice. So it's not the lender's lawyer, it's your own lawyer, and you pay a fee for that lawyer. But before you can get the reverse mortgage, you must consult with a lawyer to ensure that you understand exactly what you're getting into, what the costs are, all that sort of thing. The lawyer will go over with you. So if that's not part of the process, then I'd be very leery
Okay.
of any, because I mean, there are always scams out there, right?
Yeah.
You can check that the person you're dealing with is a licensed mortgage agent by going online and going to there is a website that the regulator maintains. FSRA is the
Yes.
regulator, Financial Service Regulatory Authority, I believe, if I remember correctly. And you can search for registered mortgage agents, and you can search for the person, and it should show them as being currently licensed. So if not, then it's like, what's going on here, right? So that would be a big red flag right away. You can also, of course, look into who the lender is. Off the top of my head, Equitable Bank and the CHIP reverse mortgage are the two that come to mind. So those are, if it's from somewhere else, then I would definitely do some research.
So this is not something that anyone want to do again without a financial direction like a mortgage broker.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would definitely talk to a financial planner first, of which I actually am one as well. I'm a certified financial planner, because, I would want to look and see what all the options are. And certainly a mortgage agent, because it's not the cheapest option, but often, it's the only option available, because, sometimes people can get a HELOC, for example, to help with their cash flow. You have to have the income to qualify for that. You have to have the credit rating to qualify for that. So, if you do some planning in advance before retiring and things like that, maybe you get that HELOC in place, and that can make it so you don't need to get that reverse mortgage. But I mean, keep in mind, as far as cash flow goes, you're going to usually have to at least make interest payments on the HELOC, and a HELOC can be a higher interest rate than a reverse mortgage. So, but it really depends on the individual situation.
Okay. So Rick, you've touched on it a little bit. So I mean, there are scams out there. And you talked about checking if someone is registered, which obviously is an excellent first option. I shouldn't say obviously, but which is an excellent first option. But what kind of documents that you as a lender, like, I mean, when you're doing a mortgage brokerage, now they don't have to qualify for a mortgage doing a reversal, but you're still going to need certain documents from them, right? Like.
Well, as I said, there's very little to qualify.
Okay.
First of all, you have to be at least 55. It's the younger person if you've got a spouse that's living there. Anyone else on title. Like if you've got your ownership is shared with your child, unless that child is over 55, you're not going to qualify.
Okay.
On the younger person's age, because you can stay in that home for the rest of your life if you're on the reverse mortgage, and if you're on title, you have to be on the mortgage. So that's the first thing. And as I said, you also have to show that you'll be able to maintain the requirements of paying maintenance fee, fire insurance, and property taxes.
So in the mind thought still of being sure, and I like to know this. I like to know that my senior clients are not getting caught up in something that's going to hurt them. There are, and there's certain things I've heard of, and I know there's scams because being in the industry, but they would ask a senior for money up front in the initial process. So a proper lender in the whole process, doing a reverse mortgage, is not going to ask for any cash up front from a client.
No, there are fees involved with getting a first mortgage, but those are usually deducted from the advance. You will have to pay out of pocket for your lawyer, which is giving you independent legal advice. So you're the one retaining the lawyer. So if someone's trying to scam you, there's not really anything in it for them if you're paying your own lawyer, right? and if you have your own lawyer, then obviously the lawyer should be doing some due diligence as well, I would think.
So if someone is approaching a senior and saying to them, you pay us money and we will give you information how to do this, that is most likely a red flag.
Yeah.
And you need to get another opinion.
Yeah, 100%. It's like there are some lenders that are legitimate lenders, usually private lenders that will charge application fee or something like that.
Yeah.
But yes, with reverse mortgages, you usually don't pay a cent, other than, as I said, to your own lawyer, and the other fees will simply be deducted from the advance. Now, other things that will be deducted from the advance that I should mention is if you have an existing mortgage, you cannot have an existing mortgage and a reverse mortgage at the same time. You can use a reverse mortgage to pay out your existing mortgage
and then take the balance.
Yeah, but you also have to be aware that you might be incurring fees to break your regular mortgage. If it's a fixed term mortgage, there will almost definitely be fees to end that mortgage before that term is up. So that is something you should look into. And obviously, if you have the option, you're better off waiting until that mortgage reaches its maturity and then doing the reverse mortgage at that time, paying out that mortgage with the reverse mortgage possibly, or yes.
And making sure you're using your lawyer and your mortgage broker that you can find a trace of them and know that they're legit.
Well, and it's like identity theft, of course, is a problem. So you don't want to just be sending off like your identification and your title and who knows what else information to someone that, because they can, usually all you need to steal someone's identity is their full name, their address, and their date of birth. And well, your driver's license contains that information, right? So
yeah, exactly. So, and you mentioned something, and I want to clarify here because that was the other one I wanted to ask you about. Excuse me. The property title. One of the things that happens in scams is that they tell you that you need to transfer the title of your property to your lender.
No, that is not the way mortgages work. Your mortgage, sorry, your lawyer, I should say, will register your mortgage on the title, but it's still you on the title. If you are transferring the title, that is
giving up ownership of your home.
Yes. So now I would imagine you'd be able to get that reversed, but it might be like years of legal.
So the key here is do not sign away the transfer of your title.
100%.
Do not do it. It will
not
ask from any legitimate source ever.
Yeah. Anything like that, you should definitely be consulting a lawyer before you do it. Now, when you get a reverse mortgage, you're going to be asked to sign commitment letters and things like that. But none of that, like a commitment letter will list all the things that you need to do in order to, like they will offer you a mortgage at this rate. And if you decide that you want to go ahead with that, the commitment letter will list all the requirements you have to fulfill in order for them to proceed with doing the mortgage. As I said, one of the requirements would be independent legal advice. So you can take that commitment letter if you want to proceed and show it to the lawyer that you're going to, which is hopefully a real estate lawyer, so that they are specialized in that field. And you can show them that commitment letter, and they can go over that with you and make sure. Now, of course, I'm going to go over it as a mortgage agent. I'm going to go through it with you and make sure that you understand. But I'm not a lawyer at the end of the day. So your own lawyer, like I'm going to be looking out for the client's best interest, just as the lawyer should be. But it's just another step. And if there's no independent legal advice, then you don't know what you're dealing with in this case. Like it's probably not 100%, but there's a very good likelihood it's a scam.
Right. Now, the other thing is not that I'm going to talk about on this. It's on the same trend for tying into your house and your mortgage, because a lot of people know that as a senior, you may have fixed income, that you've got a lot of equity in your home. And one of the places we've seen on occasion is home improvement fraud. And this is where a contractor or a handyman or a construction company would suggest to you, well, you need all these things done. And they're like, we don't have the money. And they're like, but you have it in your house. So they're suggesting you take out a reverse mortgage to pay for their services. And it has been something that it doesn't come up a lot, but for some that are real savvy, understanding where money is, I've come up with things like this. And it sounds like a good idea to some seniors, and they would do that process or try and start the process. But usually then the reverse part was a scam because it wasn't legitimate in the first place. But talking specifically about home improvement, they tying it into the reverse mortgage and suggesting that you take out that reverse mortgage. What should someone do with that kind of direction if they receive?
So if you do want to get a reverse mortgage, your first call should be to a mortgage agent, because if they are trying to scam you, like I don't know of any mortgage agents that are also contractors. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but unless you're licensed as a mortgage agent, you should not be offering mortgages to the public. So that's the first red flag. As I said, like check to see, like, are they registered under FSRA's website as a mortgage agent? Because if they're not, then it's like, well, how are you offering a reverse mortgage, right?
It could be, even as a contractor. I know contractors, I know real estate agents, and they have mortgage licenses.
Okay, well, if they do, then
I have a mortgage license as well.
That this is true. So, and so if someone searched you under FSRA, you would come up. So yes, I mean, I'm not saying that there are not contractors with mortgage licenses. There could be. I said I don't know of any, but I'm sure that there are some out there. But you've also got to wonder, like, unless this is, how their modus operandi is to, finance their work by getting mortgages done. It's like, how good a mortgage agent are they if they're spending most of their day doing contracting work, right? So, it's, again, like I would want a full-time professional if I'm dealing with something like that, as opposed to someone that dabbles in it. But yes, the first step is I would check FSRA to see if they're a registered agent. Now, they could just be suggesting it because, I mean, if you don't have the money and it's a repair that really needs to be done, like if the home's not going to be habitable without this repair being done, then maybe it is a good option. But yes, you should consult with possibly your financial planner and also a mortgage agent, because, there's more than one reverse mortgage out there. So, which one's going to be better in your situation. So a mortgage agent can go over that with you. So yes, I wouldn't sign anything if you don't have the money to pay for it. For the work, and if you need to finance the work, then if you can't get if you're able to qualify for a reverse mortgage but nothing else, then that might be the way to go. So
what you're saying is that even in that reverse mortgage, there is a process that you should commit yourself to follow. So if someone is, number one, suggesting the reverse mortgage, and now they may be suggesting that, meaning well, but if they're suggesting it, and in addition, then they say to you, well, sign here for this, and we'll lock this price for you today if you agree to it. This is the thing where I'm saying, the fear of missing out, they play it on seniors, especially as well. So I guess, and all of this, what we're saying is do your homework. Ask some questions, get second opinions, right? A reverse mortgage is a wonderful tool there for your use. It can definitely be scam free. It's totally legitimate as long as it's done the right way and through the right processes. And if you need the kind of work done for your home that would require you to take the kind of money out to get a reverse mortgage, because it's not just the money, it's the legal fees involved, it's the financing fees involved, there's a lot of fees they're going to have to pay. So we want to make sure that if you're doing it, it's worth it for you. And if it is worth it for you because it's something that needs to be done with the house and you don't see any other way and this makes sense, talk to that mortgage agent, talk with your lawyer, make sure you got the best resources. And I would also suggest talk to another contractor get second and third opinions and quotes, and make sure that the information that you're getting there. You know, if someone knows that mortgage agent, is even better for you. If you can almost find anyone online today,
Mhm.
and you can almost find them under you can see what kind of work they're doing. You can see client reviews on those agents. Like I know for me and for you, like we have Google reviews, we have video testimonies. People can go on our YouTube channel and see all of the work that we talk about, that work that we cover extensively, going into all of the real estate and the financing matters. They can see clients that have talked about us, can ask for referrals, ask for references, which is another excellent thing. You can call people about a reference. And I know all of these things have things tied to them, but if you do all of it, you're going to find out pretty quickly whether this is legitimate or not. And if you've got that little nagging feeling inside that's saying, oh, this don't seem right, listen to it.
Yeah. Well, as I said, the first thing I would do if I have any suspicions, and I would always be suspicious, is go online and check to make sure that person can't talk. Make sure that person is registered as a mortgage agent with the government regulator FSRA.
Yeah. Yeah, and make sure you've got all your contacts in place. That's your support system. I know even for Rick and myself, like we'll have questions, and then we go back to our lawyers and say, "Hey, you know, what's your thoughts on this?" And I mean, Rick, you did that just even as early as like an hour or so ago, right? Like, you know,
yeah.
So we are constantly ourselves watching out for our clients, seeing. So even if you don't know anyone else and you've seen this message, then now you know that you can at least reach out to us as well and say, hey, you know, I just want to make sure I'm taking the right process here. We're here, and we're here to serve you.
And if you like what you saw and found it informative, you know, please like and subscribe below to get more. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Rick. Have an awesome
Thanks,
day, my friend. Take care.
You as well.